Western culture is largely thought of as a more masculine emotion. Because of this, girls and boys are taught differing stances when it comes to handling their anger. Men tend to express their anger physically and impulsively, where women tend to be resentful and emotional.
Definitely some interesting facts. Now we are joined by Graham Music, a consultant and child-adolescent psychotherapist from the UK, and he's going to help us how to manage our anger. Hello, Graham. Welcome to the Press Plus show. It is our pleasure having you.
Well, hello, Reza. It's really nice to be back on your show again. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Great. Now, Graham, let's get to it. What causes anger? Really simply put.
Very good question about what causes anger. Of course, many things cause anger. But what I'd quite like to think about particularly is the fact that anger is an evolved capacity, that all mammals have this capacity to react when we're under stress, when we feel we're being attacked, when we feel somebody's trying to humiliate us or shame us. And so it's part of our defensive system alongside other things we do when we're under threat, which might include flight, fleeing, freezing, or working very hard to attend and befriend somebody else. And anger is part of the fight system, and it's one we share with most mammals, in fact I think all mammals, and it's seen in a particular form in humans. So we tend to experience anger when we're under threat, when we want to assert ourselves, when we feel possibly shamed, humiliated. It's part of the threat system. The red is the anger. We want to have not too much anger and be able to recalibrate to get into this green soothing system where we can.
Thank you, Graham. Now, before we get on with our interview, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the streets of Tehran with our reporter Farid, who is asking the people of Tehran about that question. Let's see what they have to say, and let's see what gets them angry. Farid, over to you.
What's your name?
My name is Martina.
Martina, I have a question for you. Do you easily get angry?
Not easily, but I can get angry.
Okay. So, what makes you angry?
Well, if I look at the traffic at Tehran, I admire how the car is so fluent, you know, everybody just sneaks in Germany. When they don't let me in, I really get angry, and you should hear me in the car. I mean, you better don't.
Okay, so not really, no. I get sad, but I don't really get angry and shout at people and yell at people. No, that not.
Okay. So, what makes you angry?
Stupid people. That's the one and only reason actually that makes me angry. The rest is providence, is fortune, but stupid people, that's the thing.
به راحتی آره عصبانی میشم بعضی موقع از دست این آقا پسر مثلا الان که دستشو کرد تو دهنش.
What makes you angry?
وقتی که بهم زور بگن، بهم بی‌احترامی بشه و ببینم که حقی داره از خودم به کسی ضایع میشه.
Now remember, if you're patient in one moment of anger, you'll escape 100 days of sorrow. Back to you, Reza.
Farid, thank you so much. Now that we've heard what the people in Tehran have to say, let's get back to Mr. Graham and let's get to our questions. Okay, let's get right to it. Are there different types of anger?
So a good question about, are there different kinds of anger? And of course there's many different kinds of anger. I'd like to distinguish two particular kinds today. One is a kind which we often think about in relation to people who are called, or are said to have an anger problem. This is kind of hot-blooded anger. It's an anger we show when we're angry, furious, raging, when we feel humiliated, we want to retaliate, we want to get back at somebody, when maybe we feel somebody's trying to shame us, or show disrespect, when we're trying to fight for something. So in this system, we're very fired up. We might think about it like, for example, a cat that's been threatened by another cat or a dog and it's all bristly and fired up. Now there's another kind of anger that I'd like to think about, which is a more cold, calculated kind. This is more like the kind of anger you see and the kind of aggression you see in the predator hunting its prey.
Okay, one last question. how to control that anger and never get angry.
I'm going to leave out the last bit, never get angry, because I think sometimes, I think it's rarely a good thing to never get angry, because some situations demand for our own good that we become a little bit angry or even very angry. But how do we control anger? I think that's nearly always by developing this part of the mind and the brain involved in these prefrontal parts of the brain, prefrontal cortex, which is involved in self-reflection, empathy, self-control, emotional regulation. And we can grow this part of the brain. It can happen through psychotherapy, it can happen through meditation, it can happen through quiet self-reflection, it can happen through learning to empathize, which is very, very central. What we know is those sorts of things will tune down the reactive parts of our brain, move us out of the stress and threat system into a much more relaxed, affiliative, calming system. There are other things we can do to move into this system, and that might include, for example, breathing more, taking long, slow, deep breaths, maybe 5 or 6 seconds in and the same out. And if you do that in a smooth rhythm for about 4 or 5 minutes and then try to get angry, I think, Reza, any of us would find it quite hard to get angry in that situation.
Graham, thank you so much for joining us on the Press Plus show. It was really our pleasure. Now let's send it over to Samson, who's got some tips.